Gonna wait here just a minute, give people a chance to join on the Twitter live stream. Hopefully you can see or can hear the music right now. I'm doing this for the first time. We are live on Twitter Spaces. If you want to call in, you can hop in Twitter. You can call in. If you want to leave a question, if you want to leave a comment, anything like that, you can do it right here in the live chat. So I'm going to take just a minute and kind of promote the show, promote where you can listen, all of that good stuff. We're going to get that started here in just a minute, so bear with me. Let me just make sure this show is out everywhere that we can, and we'll be good to go. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I want you all to give a thumbs up if you can hear me in the Twitter Spaces, because I'm kind of finagling this for the first time in a different way than I've ever done it before. So if you can hear me, maybe give me a thumbs up in the Twitter space so that I can see it, and then I'll go ahead and make sure that we're all good on YouTube. You guys can hear me. This is fantastic. I'm glad that you all are here, and hopefully here as we get rolling and we get some calls, we're going to be able to get some more people in here and get an opportunity to get some thoughts before the college basketball season really gets rolling here on Tuesday, or on Monday rather. And a bunch of the local teams playing on Monday. Kentucky will play on Tuesday. Kentucky and Georgetown actually playing right now. I have this up on the screen. Less than a minute left down in Lexington. And Georgetown is going to beat Kentucky 82-68 is the score right now. And an incredible difference in tonight's game for Kentucky as compared to what happened against Purdue the other night. Of course, Purdue, one of the best teams in the country and a national championship contender. Kentucky able to handle Purdue with ease down in Lexington. And then tonight, Kentucky run out of their own gym by Georgetown, KJ Lewis and the Hoyas. What a night it was for Georgetown. Again, it was a 14-point game almost the entire way through the second half of that one. So if anybody wants to call and check in here on the show, go ahead and we'll start taking calls. But I think we're live on YouTube as well. And I'm excited to get this one going. So if anybody here in the chat wants to go ahead and get the calls started, then by all means, feel free. We'll take a few of them here as we get going. But again, it's just an exciting time. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of storylines throughout the area, right? You have a couple of coaches that are looking to get to the NCAA tournament, and Anthony Grant and Wes Miller out of Dayton and Cincinnati. You have Xavier, of course, with a new head coach and Richard Pitino. You have two national championship contending teams in Kentucky and Louisville. And then you also have a team in Darren Horn and the Northern Kentucky North are always going to compete at the top of the horizon. You have Travis Steele and the Miami Redhawks, who look to be one of the best mid-major teams in the country. They're pretty much a consensus, mid-major top 25 type team. So all of them are there are storylines everywhere for this season. And we're excited to get things going. Xavier, of course, kicks off on Monday night. That'll be against Marist. Marist, returning some pieces from last year's team. I think that's the one big thing for this year for Xavier is getting off on the right foot, having a couple of opportunities before that game against Santa Clara on the following Monday, which I think a lot of people have scheduled. That's going to be a nationally televised game on FS1. Then you go to Iowa, of course, for your first high major test of the era. So again, if anybody wants to call in, I do want to make sure before we really get going here that I've shared this in a couple of places. But again, hold on just a minute. Hold on just a second. If you want to call in, go ahead and I'll see you and add you in. But hold on just a minute as I get this going. Let me check this out, and I'll share it to the Rebound Rundown as well. I know a lot of people have mentioned wanting to check into this on YouTube. I can see some people checking in on the YouTube live stream as well. So all of these spaces throughout the season are going to be simul streamed both on YouTube and within this on Spaces, so that you can go back and listen to it later. I know a lot of people check in post game. You can go back and listen to Spaces later in the YouTube, or again in the podcast feed in case you missed anything. But let me share this through the Rundowns channel here, and then we'll be off. If anybody has any questions, I can talk more about Xavier and some expectations heading into this season, because I know there are a lot of unknowns for this Xavier team as we kind of approach the start of the 2025-2026 season. You heard us on the season preview show, did one with Rick yesterday, done season preview shows with pretty much every school. Louisville, the last one that I haven't completed, and you're going to hear a lot of those shows as we get closer to the season. I just released the Cincinnati show tonight with Keegan Nickerson. Andrew Schaefer, go ahead.
How are you, Paul?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. It was nice to meet you on Big East Media Day.
Absolutely. Great to meet you as well.
So I don't know what to think of Xavier. I'm going to be honest. I know it's a lot of new faces, obviously, new team, new coach, the whole thing. I just don't know I feel like they're like the mystery team in the Big East. I feel like I don't know who the best player is. I don't know. I know Richard Pitino wants to run, obviously. But it just feels like, it's obviously going to be a multi-year, rebuild. I think we can agree there. It's going to take a little bit of time.
Sure.
But I'm still trying to figure out, who are the real guys on his team. I think it's probably Trey Carroll, Robinson, from Virginia. But outside of that, I don't know. All right, maybe. I know he brought some guys over from New Mexico also. So can you just give me an idea, or give the viewers an idea of what we can expect from Xavier, or what you think we might see?
Yeah, I would say the biggest question mark, and that's something that you don't want going into a season, right, is who is the best player. We talked a lot about that yesterday on the preseason show, where we said, it's tough when you go into a season and you can't directly identify who is the best player on this team. At the end of a shot clock, or at the end of the game, when you need somebody to go out there and get a bucket, who are you going to be able to count on for sure to do that? And what you saw in the exhibition against Murray State, and what we heard at least from the Toledo exhibition, was that Trey Carroll was the best player in both games. That was at least what we were told about Toledo, was that Trey Carroll was the best player in both games. So, from that perspective, maybe it's Trey Carroll. Now, Trey Carroll on any other team, is he your option one? Is he designed as a player to be that guy? I think that's the biggest thing for Xavier, is the top end talent on this team. Can they answer when you're playing some of the better teams in this league? I mean, you think about the top of this league, it's UConn and St. John's that are two national championship contending teams. I think Creighton is a second weekend team. So because of that, when Xavier goes up against teams like Creighton, UConn, St. John's, who's going to answer the bell? I think, Allwright and Gabe Pizzato, two players that competed for Freshman of the Year in the Missouri Valley. Hopefully Gabe Pizzato, if you're a Xavier fan, returns to play this season. I think, from all reports, you would hope that maybe by January, Pizzato can get out there and finish the last 2.5 months of the season playing for Xavier. But that would be, of course, if everything goes well and they clear him to play. Trey Carroll, again, he performed well in the exhibitions, but again, when you go up against the top type talent, that's where I'm going to start having question marks for anybody, and it's not just Trey Carroll, it's just anybody on this team right now. I think the good thing for Xavier, is that their non-conference schedule is not impossible. The bye games are actually pretty solid. Santa Clara is a great team. I think Old Dominion is a good team. So there are good games in there for Xavier that I think will test you. You have Old Dominion before you go down there to Charleston. So there are going to be good tests in this league, or in this non-conference. But when I think about it from the perspective of, Iowa is a new team, right? You have Ben McCollum, you have Bennett Sturts, you have players that have followed him. But when the top end of this talent on Xavier's team is going to have to compete against a lot of new elsewhere, like that's where maybe Xavier could pick up a couple of wins. So,
Right.
it's to me, Andrew, the answer is Trey Carroll, and then you would hope Malik Messina Moore as well, who is a 40% 3-point shooter in 2 of his 3 years, going down the line.
Right. If Pizzotto was healthy, do you think it'd be a little bit, I guess not easier, but I mean, would it be safe to say that he would probably be the guy for them, or at least be in the mix to be the number one option if he was there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the buzz that you got in the offseason, was that he would hopefully be toward the top end of your rotation. And from all the reports that I heard before the season, that was what I was getting back, was that Gabe Pizzotto was as good of a player as they were hoping that he was going to be, but he was only out there for a little bit before he tore his meniscus. And then, he didn't get through the whole summer. He tore his meniscus and then now has to get surgery, repair it, all of that. And now here we are. It'll take him some time to work back. I think the reason I say that, all right, the one thing we've noticed here throughout the last few weeks is, he's not the biggest guy. And I wonder if a lack of size and athleticism maybe for all right is going to pose issues for him going forward. But again, we've had question marks about players in years past that have been answered that maybe we weren't expecting a ton out of going into a season that then turned the corner. So yeah, I would say Pizzotto was somebody you were hoping would be at the top end of your rotation.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
You got it. Appreciate it. Thanks, Andrew. I know we had somebody else had called in initially, and if you want to call in, whoever that was, I didn't see who it was, going to call in and get back here on the line, I'll take it. But yeah, to go back down through the schedule, I mean, again, Georgia, Clemson, West Virginia, a lot of teams that are very new. If you're just continuing on the Xavier theme, a lot of teams that are very new on this non-conference schedule. And then you have Cincinnati, who sure brought in some transfers, but also at the same time, Cincinnati is going to be down a couple of players that they were counting on toward the top end of their rotation in their starting lineup, Jalen Haynes and Chisel James. Wes Miller said yesterday that he hoped Jalen Haynes would return at some point this season. I mean, you're wondering when a player goes out indefinitely, you're wondering, okay, are they going to be back in 3 weeks, or are they going to be back in 2 months, or what is indefinite? How long is indefinite? And, what we heard yesterday was it doesn't sound like, at least from the way that Wes Miller was phrasing things, that Jalen Haynes was going to be back for the shootout. And if you're saying, I hope he's back at all this season, then that's certainly not a positive as you go forward this year. And then for Chisel James, we know he was removed from the team. So you're down 2 of your key pieces in your starting lineup. What are you going to then get going forward? That's a huge question mark. So that's another one for Xavier that, yeah, I think if you're Cincinnati in the crosstown shootout, you would like to think that, if you're a Cincinnati fan listening to this, the Bearcats probably going to be favored in that game, going to be a talented team this year, but you got to go and you got to win at Cintas for the first time since whatever that was, 2001. And, that's a big ask. But all the way up and down the line, even the bye games for Xavier this year, Santa Clara checks in at 105 in preseason on Ken Palm. Missouri State's 173. Old Dominion's 185. I mean, this is this is a good schedule for Xavier, especially for a Xavier team that doesn't have anything coming back. I mean, I think the biggest question, there are a lot of question marks for Xavier, but I think maybe the biggest question mark that I have personally after watching this team throughout the preseason is, yeah, and actually, I'm sure a lot of you listening to this listened to the uh, preseason show that I did yesterday with Rick, whether it was here on the rundown or whether it was through Musketeer Report. But I don't think we talked about it enough. I'm interested to see what Roddy Anderson brings to this team, right? Because he chose to stay at Xavier. He didn't choose to transfer anywhere else. When a new coaching staff came in, he was the one player that decided to stay. And we all have heard, it's been talked about extensively, the shooting woes that Roddy had experienced in his career leading into his time at Xavier. And could Roddy Anderson compete at this level in the Big East after a year off and improving his shooting? That was something he had to do. To me, felt like he'd done it, at least in that specific area, and competing against his own teammates. So can the rest of the game translate, right? I mean, he's improved his shooting at least as much as he can, competing against himself. Can Roddy Anderson be the starting point guard for a Big East team? I mean, that's going to be huge. Blabino, go ahead.
Hi, Paul. First time listener, long time Italian.
Hey, what's going on?
So I wanted to feed off your talk about Roddy Anderson, because from what I saw from the first exhibition against Murray State, he seemed to be getting, like, he was explosive and he seemed to be getting the lane at will, but he seemed to be forcing quite a bit. Do we think the chemistry has improved much over the past couple of weeks leading into this game against Marist, wherever that is? Or are we kind of are we expecting something a little ugly?
So Marist is Poughkeepsie. It's a little bit north of, it's up the Hudson River, a little north of New York City, the Red Foxes. What did you want to know about Roddy?
Just about just really the overall chemistry with him. It all starts with him running the point, just the chemistry of the team. Or do we think it's improved at all, or is it still looking to be as ugly with me with a mustache?
Well, I can't speak to that, but what I can say is it was interesting. We recorded a couple of episodes of the Patino Show today. This morning, we recorded a couple more player spotlight shows that are going to start coming out here this coming Monday. And one of the things I asked Richard on the show, I didn't do a little spoiler here. It's one of the things I asked Richard was about the reaction to exhibition. Now, we had recorded last week before the Toledo exhibition, and of course, Toledo was behind closed doors, so the public didn't get as much of a exposure to that. But there was a ton of exposure out of a loss to a Missouri Valley team in Missouri State. And he said after that game, he told the players, stay off your phone, stay off of social media. But the other comment he made on the show today was, in the NFL or in any sport, Major League Baseball with spring training, NFL preseason games, NBA exhibition games, and preseason games before their regular season starts. At the professional level, you don't cover exhibition games or preseason games nearly the same as you do at all as a regular season game. So his question was, now why all of a sudden is it like that in college, where you're making these huge, you're rendering this judgment on a college team just because of what happened in an exhibition game? And I think that's fair, right? Because you're experimenting with lineups, you're doing things that you wouldn't otherwise maybe have done in a game that mattered. But you can take away from exhibition games are individual performances. And I'll just call it like it is. I didn't think Roddy played as well as maybe a lot of people were hoping he would play in that game against Murray State. And so what I want to see out of Roddy this year is somebody who you can tell his speed fits Richard Pitino's style. You can tell that what he's trying to do offensively and getting downhill, getting to the basket, playing really fast, that's what he really wants to do. Richard Pitino, that's what he really wants to do. He wants to play fast. He wants to get out in transition. He wants to try and score. And because of that, you're going to have a point guard who, yeah, now for the first time in 2 years is playing in live action. And oh, by the way, Roddy Anderson, when he was at Boise State, played in a very slow, very methodical offense. And that's not who he is. That's not the kind of player that Roddy Anderson was recruited to be here at Xavier. And so that's why I would say, Blabino, that I do expect things to improve, obviously, as they always do. And I even mentioned, like, you know, I'm only going to probably 1 to 2 practices a week if I can. And what I would say is you can see the chunk progression week to week that maybe when you go every single day, you don't always see that. And I do have seen the steps they've taken, but at the same time, there are going to be limitations to this team. And I think that's been well covered here through the offseason. I just I'd like to see Roddy play fast, but also play under control and make the decisions that he needs to make to set up this group for the success that, you know, obviously a lot of these guys that no matter what you predict in the preseason, there are players on this team that they're playing in their last year of college basketball. And for them, there is no rebuild, right? Malik Messina Moore, Philip Borovichinen, Isaiah Walker, Trey Carroll, these guys, that's it. This is it for them, right? This is it. So, you know, Roddy Anderson may have a couple of years left, but I would say that you're going to still see a lot of that chemistry build. This is a when you talk specifically about chemistry, this is sometimes you write off what team chemistry means, right? Like sometimes you don't always put a ton of stock in it. It sounds cliche. Oh, team chemistry, right? You know, they went and played a round of golf together. They went to the driving range. They did team. They went bowling, whatever it is. For this team, I don't know how well it'll translate onto the court for Xavier, but certainly they are close off the court. This is a great collection of individuals, very high character guys. And I do think at some point that does translate on the court. You can see it when they enjoy each other's company, that yes, that will translate at some point onto the court, and team chemistry will be improved. So it's a long-winded way to answer your question, Blabino. Anything else?
Yeah, no, I love that. And obviously, like when talk about exhibitions, like you throw a lot out the window, especially the fact that we return a total of like the 2 people that have spent the most on the court together are Gabe Pizzato and Allright, and they were opponents. Like there's no reason, there's no way that anybody's going to know each other's play style just yet. So like like that should absolutely improve. I do expect an ugly non-con, but
here's the thing about here's the thing about the non-conference though. You have no idea with some of these teams that are also brand new. I said this a minute ago. You have no idea. Teams like Clemson, I mean, no, Brad Brownell is a great coach, but like Ross Hodge at West Virginia has a new group. If Georgia has a fairly new group, Iowa has a new coach and a new group. They play slow. Xavier plays fast. I mean, it's going to be hard for Xavier to go on the road and win in their first true road test of the season. But like, I don't want to just totally write off the non-conference just because it's difficult or this
we're just gonna have to make it messy.
You just have to kind of scrap things together. That's right.
Right. Yeah. That's one thing I'm actually excited about is the fact that it's going to be a different brand. We are going to. This is the final point I'll make. Then I'll.
Well, you're the only caller that I have in the queue right now, so you can keep going as long as you want. If anybody else wants to call in, I see a lot of familiar faces that we haven't seen since last offseason. So if you want to call in and renew the spaces, on here, go ahead. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So obviously, like our talent pool is probably at one of the lower levels of the conference as far as like individual talent, but we have a lot of athletes, and Pitino's style. We're gonna be making things really, really messy. we're going to be creating a lot of turnovers. And I think that's going to close the gap, and we should be able to find ourselves watching a very fun brand of basketball that I'm really excited about. So although the individual talent might not be up there with the St. John's or the UConns, the gap might not be as big with the style of play we're going to see.
Yeah, I go back and forth on, the realistic expectations for this team this year and understanding what this team is going to be, and also the limitations that this team is going to have, and also hoping that a lot of these, what you're looking for out of Xavier this year, if they don't, if this, let's just say, I'm trying to think about how to word this. If the non-conference doesn't go great for Xavier, right, then you're looking for what does it look like from this team and the players that potentially are going to compete year after year for Xavier, right? Like, who's going to come back, and are they good enough to play at the Big East level? And if they do, I don't. Can those players compete in the Big East, I guess, is my question. And if the record doesn't bear itself out, then hopefully the evaluation of talent will bear itself out, if that makes sense.
Right. I'm actually really interested to see one. I'm not to fast forward through a year. I'm interested to see who, one, comes back and two, is invited back. I mean, there are a couple of people that it seems like they're struggling to get used to the pace of the Big East. I was very disappointed in Philip during the first exhibition. But again, they like move on from that. It's an exhibition. Move on to the regular season. Hopefully, he proves me wrong. But right now, like, we don't. But hopefully, we can, with the pace that we play, we can go 9 deep, and we have at least enough athletes who can play defense. Although I really only see about 5 scorers out there.
Yeah, that's for sure something that. Again, like scoring, shooting, all of that are going to be big question marks. I think there's question marks all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, Trey Carroll seems like he's going to be our bucket getter. I only caught the second half of the first exhibition. I'm not sure why I didn't see a whole lot of All Right, but hopefully I get to see more, because I was really excited to see him. Then Malik Messina Moore, I'm still really high on him, even though he started off with some shooting struggles. Hopefully he can have at least half of what we saw of Quincy Oliveri with his turnaround that we saw once the regular season got started.
For sure. All right, Blabino, anything else?
Nope, that is it. Go Italy and go X.
All right. Appreciate you. I do. So again, I'm simul-stream. I don't even know if simul-streaming is a word. I tweeted that earlier. I'm putting this out on YouTube as well. So I have something. I have like this little dongle connected to my phone. If you're watching, you might be able to see it out of the corner of the screen. If you're listening on Twitter, you obviously do not see it. But I say that because I'm just checking. Can you all hear me okay? Is there any echo? Is there anything weird? And I'm talking about the Twitter Spaces. I tested it on the YouTube. The YouTube audio sounds great. Is it on the Twitter Spaces? I'd love to know if the audio is coming through okay. Because like I said, I've tried to test it, but actually taking a bunch of calls and doing an extended space. This is the setup that I have. So hopefully everything's coming through okay, and it's not maybe echoing too badly or anything like that. But sounds great on my end. I can hear all of you. Anybody else? I see a lot more people in here now. If there's anybody else here that has any calls, comments, questions, I see somebody said there's an echo. There's an echo when others are speaking, not when I speak. That could be a headphone thing, because I'm one of those guys that always wears one ear on, or a lot of times will wear one ear on, one ear off. So I will try and I'll turn this down. Okay, tell me, I'm going to take a call here, and I want you to tell me if the echo has been reduced. when I take this call. So give me a thumbs up or thumbs down after a few seconds of listening to this call. Go ahead, El Jefe. Uh-oh. Unmute yourself. It's preseason for all of us. Unless you don't want to talk. If you don't want to talk, that's fine. Don't be nervous, though. We're all friends here. I added you, LFA. Are you there? Can you hear me? No. Okay. You have about 5. Leave, LFA, leave the space and come back. CapX. CapX, I know you can hear me. You are a Twitter Spaces professional. But what I will say is, one, congratulations to you and the Roll Blob podcast for what you are doing at Dana's postgame this season. That's going to be a lot of fun to see. I'm sure you're going to have some fun guests get up there. You're going to be doing live postgame, streams there from Dana's. That's going to be great. I'm excited for you guys for that. And yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Good to talk to you. We actually just recorded. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. Yeah.
All right, perfect. I don't have a dongle like you, so I don't know if I'm a pro.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm a big dongle guy, and I would love to know if that. I'm thinking the echo was probably what was coming through my headphones back into the mic, but I don't know.
Yeah, it sounded like when Blobino was talking, there was a little bit of an echo, but I think we're looking good now. I wanted to be your guinea pig, Paul. I'm here to help you out.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you.
But we're pumped. We just talked to KJ Keith Jackson. I think he's trying to hit a lot of games, and I think too there's a lot of like retirements this year and a lot of Hall of Fame inductions and stuff. And we're thinking there could be some cool opportunities to get those folks out in front of the fine patrons at Dana's as well.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that. Is it after every game?
Yeah, great question. So we're gonna have Coop staying at Cintas. Kenny's remote. I'm booking it to Dana's. So pretty much I'll be watching games at Cintas. They actually were dumb enough to give us a full season media pass, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to run up to the concourse, watch the end of the game, book it to Dana's. We'll pretty much be starting about 10 minutes after the final horn sounds. And doing live stuff from Dana's and taking some questions after about a 30-minute post-game presser and all that kind of fun stuff. So should be pretty cool.
Okay, there we go. So you're doing that. Tell me again, you said you're doing that after every home game?
Yep, every home game. Absolutely.
It's fantastic.
So could be really fun post-shootout, Paul.
It could be. Where did you say you're going to be doing it? Like outside in like the she shed?
Yeah, we'll be on the patio. Yes, sir.
Great.
And we'll still be doing stuff virtually. So if you can't go, it'll be virtually, and we'll be having like Kenny come in virtually and all that kind of fun stuff. But I'll be live at Dana's.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Give me some thoughts on what you've seen, heard. What are you expecting this year out of Xavier?
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the place. I think I err more on the Paul side than the Rick side, if I'm being honest with you. But I mean, that's kind of the thing, Paul, is we were talking with KJ just now, and we've had, plenty of transfers over the years, and it takes time to get integrated. And now that's times what, 12? So I don't know. And to be real with you, Paul, I'm not going to put a ton of stock into the first 10 or so games, to be real with you. I feel like I'm echoing a little bit, so let me know if I am. But
you're not.
That's kind of how I feel.
I hope nobody else is. You're not echoing.
Good deal.
So hopefully that's good.
Good deal.
But yeah. I mean, look, it's hard for me to put a lot of stock into. It's hard for me to put a lot of stock into a lot of I don't know. You have to look at this season from a certain lens, right? Yeah. And you have to understand what this season is and what you're trying to get out of it. And sometimes. I had somebody text me this the other day. And please do not misunderstand what I'm about to say, but this is a very, very loose analogy because this team was one BS holding call away from winning the Super Bowl. But people went into the 2021. This is borderline so absurd. I almost don't want to say it, but I am going to say it. I've already started the thought. People went into the 2021 Bengals season expecting nothing, right? Like Joe Burrow was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So in Jamar Chase, you had top end talent. But what I'm getting at here is sometimes as a sports fan, it's kind of fun in a weird backwards way to not have a ton of expectations. Mm-hmm. And then when you do pick up a couple of fun wins, then it's like, oh, okay, where did this come from? Or what was this? Or you rally around that more than maybe you otherwise would have if, the same person that texted me this said, you think about like a St. John's fan or a UConn fan this year, or a Kentucky fan, or like Kentucky fans the other day were probably already booking their, hotel rooms in Indianapolis. And, now tonight, I'm sure I'll hop on the message boards and I'll see that, Kentucky fans are questioning, their output tonight after a loss to Georgetown in an exhibition game. I mean, it's just all over the place. And so you have those fan bases that have national championship expectations, and I fully believe this Kentucky team is capable of winning a national championship, but those teams have sky-high expectations. Xavier right now, I would say, in anybody's lifetime going into this, since Xavier became a relevant program in the national scene of college basketball, right? When they really started investing in this program and it ascended to the heights that it has reached in the last 5 decades. I don't know. I can't remember a season where there's been so many question marks going into a year as to, is this team going to finish over 500? I think a lot of people would be very excited with a 16-15 record this season. But again, the lack of expectations for this team will then make it fun when, if you're a Xavier fan listening to this, it'll make it fun if the team wins at Hinkle Fieldhouse against what I expect to be a decent Butler team, or if maybe you can pick off one other team on the road, or pick up a win where you say, whoa, Xavier was an 8-point underdog in that game, but they won it by 6 points. Like I do think that this team is scrappy enough to make a moment or two like that happen this year. And that's why you say it's just, you have to reset your mind going into a year like this, where you enjoy the ride. You look at the pieces that you hope will be back next season or going into the future for Xavier, and you take it for what it is. You have some fun with it. You enjoy watching the sport, and you take it for what it is, as a building block for the future.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head, Paul. I mean, Xavier national championship appearance confirmed.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Cap.
No, but I agree, brother, because you remember Trayvon Bluet's year, for example. You're number 5 in the country. You lose a game, even like a game that's you're on the road against maybe Marquette that year. It sucks. Like, there's nowhere to go but down. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trading places with that team, but it is tough. But I think that is going to be fun. I mean, you have moments, and you hope to build for the future, and you're hoping you can invest in some guys that hopefully will be around for a couple of years. So you hope to see some flashes from a good young team.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else, Cap?
I think that's all I got, man. I appreciate you, man. Looking forward to seeing you at Dana's and seeing you around, brother.
I'll be around. There's no doubt about it. I will be around.
My God. Talk to you soon, brother.
Absolutely. So we've been going for about 38 and close to 40 minutes here. I think I've covered a lot on the Xavier end. I'm happy to talk about any other team. I'm happy to talk about anything from around the country. If anybody has any other thoughts or anything, opinions that they want to share around the sport of college basketball things here before we kind of wrap things up. Again, it's been time flies when I'm doing this, right? We've only had a handful of calls, but time flies when you're hosting a show like this. And yeah, go ahead, Cap. Oh, no, I thought you were going to say something else. Cap's out of here. But yeah, anybody else, anybody have any questions? Anybody watching on YouTube that wants to comment in? Anybody before we get off of here that has anything else they want to share or say, or preseason predictions, bold predictions, anything like that? I'll wait just a minute before we wrap this up. I would say, around the area, again, there's so many storylines to follow. The daily show of the Rebound Rundown, the daily show it'll start on Monday, of course, Monday morning, previewing everything for Monday night. And then we'll continue throughout the season every single day, Monday through Friday. Going to be doing a lot more from around the country this year. Going to be seeing a lot more games from around the area this year. I'll be broadcasting more this year. Actually just found out I have a handful more games that I'll be doing broadcasting this year. So I'm excited for that. Crangy's at the buzzer into the chat. Uh-oh. but we got to get him in. He's connecting. We got to get him in. Are you? Nope, he's not there. All right, Crange, you got to do me a favor here. You got to leave. You got to X out of Twitter, and then you got to come back in. All right, I'm going to remove you from the space, and we're going to get you back in here. But yeah, I think I think there are a lot of things that that you can look at going into this season that are going to be fun storylines to follow, both on the Xavier side and beyond. So hopefully a lot of you are college basketball fans beyond just Xavier for what you can enjoy this year. Let me see before, again, I'm going to give Cranchies another chance to get in here. I see him. There we go. Cranchies, go ahead. Sounds like you're driving. Uh-oh. Now I can't, now just beware whatever you say. You are live right now. You there? Oh, uh-oh. You gotta. This sounds like a microphone issue, I think. Uh-oh.
We're scrapping it.
We're scrapping it. He's scrapping it. It's all right. Like I said, it's preseason for everybody. All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap this up here. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Again, we're going to do these. Maybe we'll do some post-game spaces throughout the season for, some different games this year. I'll try to go live post-game. Maybe next. Xavier plays Lemoyne next Thursday. I believe that game is at, hold on. Let me check. I'm on the call for that game. Don't know what time that game tips off. It is at 7:00. So maybe we do a post-game spaces, call it 9:45, 10 o'clock. I don't know if we need to do a 10 o'clock post-game spaces after Xavier and Lemoyne, but we can preview the weekend. We can talk about the first week of the season. We'll have a lot to talk about. So yeah, maybe we'll do that next week. We'll kind of play that one by ear, but then going forward throughout the season, you can expect these spaces on Thursday night. And again, plenty to talk about once games really get going. So appreciate you all joining tonight. Thanks to everybody for watching online. Plenty more where you came from. Make sure you subscribe to the Rebound Rundown as we continue to grow the show this year. Appreciate you all. Talk soon.